Hi again, this is Josh Daum, Office Administrator for the Presbytery of the Western Reserve, and this is just a quick instructional video showing you how to join a Zoom meeting. So let's get started. All right, so here we are at preswesres.org/Zoom. This is the page on our website where we are keeping resources about how to use Zoom and information we have about events that are being hosted on Zoom by us and by the various churches. I'm also going to use this video as an opportunity to advertise an upcoming event. We're calling it Zoom Coffee Hour. It's another way we're going to help folks stay connected even when we have to be apart from one another physically. The next, or rather the first, Zoom Coffee Hour is going to be on Monday, March 23rd from 10 to 11 a.m., but there are going to be others, so you can always just check back on this page or check the Presbytery calendar for the latest updates on Zoom Coffee Hours. But the first one is March 23rd from 10 to 11 a.m. Okay, so if we scroll down here, this is the pertinent info, how to join the Zoom Coffee Hour. This applies to basically any Zoom meeting. One of the ways, I've mentioned that there are different ways to join a Zoom meeting. One of them is using the URL, and that is typically what I send around when we are sending out a meeting reminder for a committee, for example, and we know there are going to be folks joining by Zoom. Typically what I'll send is the URL. That's probably the simplest way to get in, but I want to show you something about this URL. So of course it starts with https://zoom.us/j. And what's left is this 9-digit number here. Now, the more astute among you have already noticed that 327-699-198 is the same as the meeting ID, 327-699-198. So this might be a bit of an advanced tip. This might not be something you find useful, but if you know the meeting ID for the Zoom meeting you're trying to join, you can always just go to your browser, type in https://zoom.us/j for join slash the meeting ID. Actually, you don't even have to type in the HTTPS. You could just do zoom.us/j slash the meeting ID. And it will help you get into the meeting. So I've also mentioned that I use Zoom all day long. I typically have it open. I don't have it open right now because I want to show you what happens if you click on this link and you're maybe not a person who uses Zoom for 95% of your communication at work. So we're going to click on this link now, and it's going to take us to this page that's letting us know that Zoom is launching. So I use Chrome. This might look a little bit different depending on what browser you are using. But basically what's going to happen is you're going to get some kind of a notification that your browser would like permission to open an application. This assumes you already have Zoom installed on your computer. If you didn't, you could hit cancel here, and then you could hit download and run Zoom. And that would take you to the download page. You could install that, and then you'd click that same link again, the zoom.us/j/327-699-198. That number is going to be different depending on what meeting you're joining, but that's the general format. You'd click that same thing again, and then you would have something that looked more like this. So basically, this is the browser asking for permission to open a piece of software on your computer. I'm going to say yes, open Zoom meetings. And we wait just a moment here. Zoom will launch and it will connect us to the meeting. Now, this looks a little bit different than what you would see if you were joining this between 10 and 11 a.m. on Monday, because the meeting hasn't begun yet. And I do not have this one set. I had mentioned in the setting up a Zoom meeting video that you can set meetings so that they don't have to have a host. This one has to have a host. So this one doesn't actually start until the account that created it signs in. This should be pretty familiar to those of you who've played around with Zoom or watched these videos. So I'm going to hit join with computer audio. Now again, this is going to look a little different than what you'd be looking at if you were joining this meeting while it was already underway. You'd be seeing a video feed with the other folks who were already in the meeting and the host of the meeting. But you'll notice that I move the mouse here. I've got my in-meeting controls, which I went over in a previous video. And it's telling me who's talking. It's me. So that is how to join a meeting using the URL. Oh, and I've been saying URL, that's just a web address. URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator, but anything you see that starts with HTTP: or HTTPS: // and then a web address, www.preswesres.org, for example, is a URL. That just stands for Uniform Resource Locator. So when I say URL, all I mean is web address. Those are the same thing. But next up, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to join a meeting using the desktop client. Now, it is worth mentioning that I am a Windows user. So this is all going to look in a particular way. If you are a Mac user, a Linux user, certainly if you're on a mobile platform like iOS or Android, it's going to look a little bit different, but the principles are the same. So in the previous part of this video, I mentioned that we have the meeting ID, which in this case is 327-699-198. That's all you really need to join a meeting, assuming it's not password protected and Zoom Coffee Hour is not password protected. Everybody is welcome. Tell your friends. But all you really need is the 9. Sometimes it's a 10-digit number. In this case, it's a 9-digit number, which is the meeting ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click over to my desktop client here, and you may have seen these buttons before if you've played around with Zoom. The one we want is join, and this is pretty simple. I'm just going to put in 327-699-198, and you've got some options down here about not connecting to audio, turning off your video. You can make a decision about whether you want to do that. If you want to maybe not have your camera on because the room's a mess or whatever. You can also turn those on and off once you join the meeting, and you can also customize your name. I'm going to leave mine as Josh Dom, and then I'm going to click join. And then we're going to see something that looks very similar to what you saw in the previous part of the video. I'm going to join with computer audio. And like I mentioned before, this meeting hasn't begun. That's why we're seeing this and not a video feed of the participants. But it's just as easy as that. Your desktop client, if you're using Mac or if you're using Linux, might look a little bit different. I know they're pretty similar. The buttons might be in a slightly different configuration. But if you're using a mobile platform such as iOS or Android, basically you just need to find the button that says join, or the control that says join, tap that, put in your meeting ID, and press join or enter, whatever the sort of OK button is in that case, and it's going to take you into the meeting. It's going to look a little different on different operating systems, but the principles are all the same. All right, and the final method of joining a Zoom meeting is what I think of as sort of a fallback method for those of us who maybe don't have a computer with a webcam and a microphone or just are super uncomfortable with video conferencing. There is the join by phone option. I don't have a great way to show this to you because it's audio and I'm capturing all this using my computer. If I come up with a clever way to do that in the future, maybe I'll re-record this part of the video, but it's pretty simple. You dial the phone number, 646-876-9923. Now, I've mentioned in previous videos, in the full meeting invitation, there are a variety of phone numbers in different areas. This one is the closest one to Cleveland, which is where most of the folks who join these meetings for the Presbytery of the Western Reserve are going to be joining from, is the Cleveland area. But you can go to zoom.us and look for local phone numbers there. If you're joining from somewhere farther away and you want to call to a more nearby switchboard for some reason. But in any case, you call the phone number, which in this case is 646-876-9923. You're going to get a voice prompt that says something like, "Thank you for calling Zoom. Please enter your meeting ID." And then you enter that same meeting ID, 327-699-198, or whatever the meeting ID for the specific meeting you are trying to enter is. It's worth mentioning again, that this is the meeting ID for Zoom Coffee Hour on Monday. This 9 or sometimes 10-digit number is going to change depending on the meeting that you are entering. But when you've got that meeting ID, which if they didn't send you the meeting ID, you can they only sent you the URL, the web address, you can always look at the end of the web address. That's the same thing as the meeting ID. But this 9 or 10-digit number is going to be unique to the meeting that you are joining. If you entered 327-699-198 and you thought you were joining your church's session meeting, you would be very unpleasantly surprised to find out that you popped into Zoom Coffee Hour by mistake. This is specific to our meeting. In any case, you're going to call the phone number. They're going to prompt you for a meeting ID. You're going to enter your meeting ID, whatever it is. If you're joining Zoom Coffee Hour, it'll be this one. If you're joining a different meeting, it'll be something different. And then it'll say something like enter your participant ID if you have one. If you're only joining by phone and not using the phone as a way to transmit audio instead of a computer microphone, you're not going to have a participant ID. That's okay. You'll show up as a telephone icon in the video conference that other folks will see, but they'll be able to hear you just fine. You'll be able to hear them just fine. So you don't need to worry about the participant ID. And that is the method for joining by phone. And so joining a Zoom meeting is really as simple as that. You can use one of those methods, either using the web address or the meeting ID, or if you're an advanced user, you can sort of cook up the web address from the meeting ID. It's all the same format, zoom.us/j/meeting ID, and that'll get you into the meeting. I mentioned that I wanted to use this as an opportunity to advertise the upcoming Zoom coffee hours. The first one is on Monday, March 23rd, from 10 a.m. till 11 a.m. And then there will be another one later in the week on Thursday, March 26th from 2 to 3 p.m. I'm not going to keep updating this video. We might update the description, but you can always find the latest Zoom coffee hours at preswesres.org/Zoom. Go ahead and download Zoom now. Play around with the client to sort of learn it. You can watch the other videos if you want some more instruction about it. And then you'll be all set to join us on Monday or Thursday or the upcoming days, which will always be updated at preswesres.org/Zoom. And we really hope to see you there. Thanks very much for watching.